The Chicago Blackhawks are going to be the youngest team in the NHL this year, which means they're going to be relatively inexperienced, but it also means they're going to have a ton of potential breakout candidates. In this video, I'm going to go over 5 players that I think will absolutely break out in the NHL this year for the Blackhawks, and I don't think it's going to be the 5 players you're expecting me to say. In this video, I will try to make the most compelling argument for each of these players, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple guys left off this list that you think I should have absolutely had on, and so let me know in the comments, maybe make an argument for those guys and why one of those guys who isn't on this list should be in it over someone who I do have in this video. The Blackhawks made a lot of additions this summer, and they also have a number of young players that are going to be trying to make the team out of training camp and throughout the year coming up from Rockford. So this season, there's going to be a ton of intercompetition, which I want to make very clear. I think that is a great thing for the team and the organization. I think these players are going to push one another to be the best version of themselves, because if they aren't, there's going to be guys underneath them gunning for their spots. And so I think that's what's going to make this year so exciting to watch from a fan's perspective. But without further ado, let's get into the first player on this list, and that is Nick Lardis. Now, most of the players in this video are going to be mentioned because of the opportunity they're going to get, the players they're going to play alongside, the roles they've kind of have carved out for them already. Nick Lardis is the opposite of that. In fact, I think the addition of Patrick Kane is genuinely not good for Nick Lardis individually as far as his playing time is concerned. Like, I'm sure he'll learn a lot from Kane, but in regards to the playing time, Patrick Kane coming in on that right side as a scoring winger, I think that bumps Nick Lardis out of the top 6. I also think that he's not going to get as many power play touches, if any at all, because now Patrick Kane, Anton Frundell, and Nick Lardis all play on that right half wall on the power play, and so Lardis might be the odd man out who just doesn't have a role on either power play unit. And so you might be wondering, well then Lee, why is he on this list over some other guys? And it's really all about my affinity for Nick Lardis, my belief in him, and what he's already shown me. Last year, Nick Lardis transitioned to pro hockey with a ton of question marks, people talking about his off-puck game and his defensive game and his ability to forecheck. I think Nick Lardis answered a lot of questions in his first year as a pro. What Nick Lardis proved to me was that he was willing to do literally whatever it takes to make it in this league. And so I guess the tenacity I saw on the forecheck, how hard he competed, how physical he was throughout the season last year, that gave me the belief that this guy will do whatever it takes. And I think you need to have that mentality, especially if you're going to be trying to work your way up from, say, the third line, because I think that's where Nick Lardis is going to be playing this year. But in that spot, I think he's going to be able to produce like he did last year. I mean, Lardis was playing fourth line, and then he was playing third line, and then towards the end of the season, he started playing with Nazar and Bertuzzi in the top 6, and he was having success pretty much at every single stop. It was different when he was on the third and fourth line just because he wasn't playing with as talented of players. But now this season, with the additions the Blackhawks have made, I think that third line is going to be really dangerous regardless of who's on the line. Like this year, Lardis, even if he's playing in the bottom 6, he's going to be playing with guys like Oliver Moore, Ryan Green, Tyler Bertuzzi, Teuvo Teravainen. And so I think he is going to steadily improve. I also think that all the off-puck stuff is going to continue to get better. As he gets faster, as he gets stronger, we already know that he's willing to engage with the body. We know that he's able to get in on the forecheck. He's just going to get better at those things. And so I just think that dog on a bone mentality that Nick Lardis possesses makes me think that he is going to have a jump in production from last year, despite not really having much better of an opportunity. And if he can do that, the Blackhawks are going to be in a really good spot, because you're all of a sudden talking about three really compelling scoring lines, and I think Nick Lardis is going to be at the center of that, and I can't wait to watch him in his first full NHL season next year. Now, before we get into player number 2, I want to talk about the sponsor of this video, which is myself. It is LeeGrossman.store. Yes, you heard that right. I am officially dropping merch. I cannot wait for you guys to see all this and start getting it. I've already teased it a little bit on the channel on a stream, and I tweeted one of the pieces out a few nights ago. I'm wearing another one of them. It says, "Frank Nazar saved my cat from a burning building." I cannot wait for you guys to get your hands on this. It's literally just shit that like I think is funny and that I think you guys will really enjoy. Like I'm trying to just make stuff that like as a Blackhawk fan myself, I would see and be like, I need to get that. So if you are watching this video, that means the site is officially live. Again, it is LeeGrossman.store. Eventually, I'm going to have it linked to the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to buy everything that comes out underneath the YouTube videos, and you won't even have to click. But for now, it is LeeGrossman.store. It will be linked in the description of this video. You can also just look it up for yourself. Take screenshots, let me know, DM me, send me stuff on social media, let me know what you like, let me know what you don't like. My personal favorite piece is the Orr, Coffee, Lidstrom, Makar, Levshinov shirt. I think it's hilarious. I think all this shit is hilarious. It is stuff that you're going to wear and Blackhawks fans will notice and come up to you and talk to you about the Blackhawks. It's the best thing ever. I'm so excited about it. I hope you guys are too. But without further ado, let's get back into the video. And player number 2 is Ryan Green. Now, I think Ryan Green is probably not a player most people are going to be expecting me to say. I think that Blackhawks fans in general kind of have an up and down opinion on Ryan Green because he isn't really that great of an offensive player. However, I do think that Ryan Green is the best two-way young forward that we have in the system right now. I genuinely believe that. I think he's a true center who also plays left wing as a right shot. There aren't a ton of right shot guys in the lineup. I think the combination of those two things, like Green being good defensively and also able to play on that left side, I think it's going to make him a very compelling top 6 candidate, at least to start the year. And I know that might be shocking to some, like when you consider the additions of Canerov and Kane and Frundell, but those guys either play center or right wing. I think Green is a great option to have as a complementary guy in the top 6, whether it's on a line with guys like Connor Bedard and Patrick Kane, or maybe it's Frank Nazar and Roman Canerov. I think he's the puck-winning, forechecking, defensively reliable guy that you want on most lines, especially when you're drawing up the top 6. You can't just put 3 scoring players together. Like, you can't just go Kane, Bedard, and Lardis and just expect that to work. Like, you need guys that can win pucks. When you're talking about forechecking, when you're talking about defending and like those defensive zone touches, that's Ryan Green's bread and butter. And so I think he will complement a lot of the exciting scoring players that the Blackhawks have on their team quite well. And so if Green continues to play in the top 6, really regardless of what line it is, whether it's with Bedard or not, I think his production's going to take another jump, and I think he's going to solidify himself as a really, really good NHL player this year, if he hadn't already in his true rookie season this past year. And so I'm betting on him. I know a lot of people think like, oh, this is a third line player, or this is a fourth line center. I think Ryan Green is going to get top 6 minutes this year, and I'm not upset about it because of what he provides, and I think his scoring will take a big jump if he stays in the top 6. And so Ryan Green, player number 2. Now, moving on to the third player on this list, and that is going to be Alex Vlasic. Now, I know Alex Vlasic is 25 years old. He's already considered like a veteran on this team. He's the longest tenured Hawk on the team at this point, but I don't think there's a single player on the team that's going to benefit as much from the Blackhawks adding Bowen Byram than Alex Vlasic. I know they're both left shot guys, but I imagine that this is going to be the top pairing. I think they'll have one of them play on their offside, and they will run these guys for 25 minutes a night. coming off of a season where Alex Vlasic was already playing those first pairing insane 24, 25 minutes a night. He's now playing with a guy in Bowen Byram who I think complements his game so well. Not only will Bowen Byram be Vlasic's best defense partner he's ever had, but I think the strengths in Byram's game will highlight the strength in Vlasic's game very well, and vice versa. Like, when I look at Bowen Byram, and I'll throw up a couple of these stat cards, but the things Bowen Byram really struggles with is puck retrievals and puck retrieval success rate. Those are things that Alex Vlasic is extremely good at. I mean, he's been doing it his entire career in Chicago. That's basically all he's been doing, is retrieving the puck nonstop. But also, Bowen Byram's greatest strength is carrying the puck out. And so I think when you combine their two skill sets, I think they are going to be absolutely fantastic at breaking out the puck. I think Byram's affinity for pushing the pace and carrying the puck and playing offense will allow Vlasic to do more of what he's better at, and that's defending and denying entries. And so when you combine their two games, you've got two big, fast, physical defensemen who are going to be able to break the puck out very well. And then Byram's going to feel super empowered to go forward and not worry about what's behind him, because he knows that Vlasic can defend as well as anybody in the league. And so I cannot wait to watch them together. I think Byram's presence next to Vlasic will lead to a big uptick in production for Vlasic, not necessarily because I think Vlasic's going to be like the play driver creating offense, but it's going to be a lot of secondary assists. They're going to be breaking out the puck a lot better than Vlasic and Crevier were able to. And it's going to lead to a lot more offensive zone time for the pair of them. And when you're in the offensive zone more, you're bound to create more offense and score more points. And so I think this is going to be Vlasic's best year to date. I think the year that Blackhawks fans were hoping he was going to have past season, that kind of big jump, I think we're going to see that this year with the pairing of Byram and Vlasic, and I can't wait for it. Now, moving on to the fourth player on this list, in the number 2 slot, I have Roman Canerov. Now, I wasn't just going to pick returning older players. I wanted to pick a newbie on this list, and so I'm going with Roman Canerov. The Chicago Blackhawks, Jeff Blashill, have basically already acknowledged that Roman Canerov will be playing in the top 6 this year. Yes, that was before the Patrick Kane addition, but I would imagine those are going to be the two right wings on lines 1 and 2. I don't know which order they're going to be in, but regardless, I think Roman Canerov is going to be playing with the best line mates possible. I think what he did in the KHL this year, being over a point per game, leading the entire KHL in goals. I think there are a lot of creative, speedy, skilled players on the Blackhawks, and that really complements Roman's game. He's not going to have to be a puck transporter because he's either going to be playing with probably Frank Nazar or Connor Bedard. He's going to be playing with guys who can get him the puck in solid areas of the ice, and I think he's going to capitalize. I also think this is going to be the player in the bumper on power play 1 in the middle. You know, I think we're going to see Bedard and Kane on opposite flanks, saucering crazy passes to one another, and then Canerov's going to be the guy in the middle just creating little pockets of space for himself to let go of one-timers. This is how he produced so much offense in the KHL this past year, and I don't think the Blackhawks have anybody, like they've used Nazar and Teravainen and like I think Ryan Green at times in this spot this past year. I don't think any of them were that great at it, and I think it's Roman Canerov's bread and butter, and I think he's not only is Byram going to be a huge help and a huge addition on the power play, as well as Patrick Kane, but I think Roman Canerov could sneakily be one of the biggest helpers on this new power play that we're going to see next year. And so when you combine those two things, top 6 minutes with power play 1, playing with guys like Patrick Kane and Connor Bedard as a goal scorer like Roman Canerov is, I think he's going to get himself a fair share of cookies as a rookie. And I'll remind you, this is not his D+1 year. He was drafted in the Bedard, Lardis, Moore year. So he's been playing pro hockey for the past couple seasons. I don't think he's going to be overwhelmed by the physicality of the NHL. One thing worth noting is that, you know, he's playing in the KHL. European ice is much wider. He has much more space there, but when I watch Roman Canerov score a lot of his goals, he's not like a perimeter goal scorer. Like, this guy goes to the dirty areas. This guy drives to the middle. This guy has a really solid one-timer. And so all those things combined, I think his game is going to translate quite well to the NHL despite the lack of space. And despite his lack of size, like, he's not big. He's just so strong and he knows the right areas to go to. And so I really do think he's going to have a lot of success. If I was betting on a Calder Trophy winner from the Chicago Blackhawks, I would bet on Roman Canerov over Anton Frundell. And so I'll spoiler alert, I have one more player. My number one player that I think is going to break out is not Anton Frundell. I know a lot of people are expecting me to say Anton Frundell. Look, I think Frundell could have a big year. I just worry about what's being asked of him. I think they're going to try to use him as a second line shutdown center, but he's not going to be playing with Ilya Mikheyev like he was to end the year this past season. I don't think there are true defensive stalwarts that the Blackhawks are going to be able to put in their top six with Anton Frundell to be able to help him to really succeed at that role. And so I just foresee there being maybe a little bit of struggle for Frundell, at least early on in the season, whereas Roman Canerov is just going to be on the wing with our most talented players. Like, Roman Canerov isn't going to have nearly the responsibility that Anton Frundell will. Now, what that means is that, like, if Frundell can just be a beast and like succeed, then it'll be significantly more impressive because it will be Anton Frundell's line, whereas Roman Canerov will just be playing on the wing of a superstar. So, but with that being said, if I'm betting money on a Calder winner, I think Roman Canerov probably has significantly better odds than Anton Frundell. And so that's who I would personally be putting my money on, especially since Frundell might not be on power play 1 now with Patrick Kane coming in, whereas Roman Canerov plays a different position. Frundell and Kane both play that right half wall. Frundell will probably be the guy on power play 2 if I had to guess. But we'll have to see, and you'll let me know in the comments why I'm tweaking why Frundell. Like, Frundell is the most talented of these players. Like, I think he is. However, I worry about what's being asked of him next season while also probably not being on PP1. And so with all that being said, let's get into my number one player, the player I think most likely to break out and have a monster year next year, and that is none other than Frank Nazar. If you followed this channel for a while, you know how much I love Frank Nazar. I was early on Frank Nazar. I absolutely adore Frank Nazar. And I think kind of like Ryan Green, the fan base has kind of gone up and down on Frankie, and that's because last season was kind of an up and down year for Frank Nazar. He dealt with a couple of injuries. He did not stay consistent. He missed games. He didn't always have his confidence, and so it just was not the most solid year from him, especially off the back of a rookie season where he played 56 games and scored 26 points. And honestly, 2 seasons ago, like those first 50 or so games that Nazar played in the NHL, most of those nights, Frank Nazar was the best player on the team. He was better than Connor Bedard most nights that year. And so I think that led to super high expectations in his sophomore season. He had a sophomore slump. He dealt with injuries. He didn't always get the best line mates and best matchups. Now he's going to. Now I think he's going to start the year as the first line center for the Blackhawks. He's going to have the best, but he's going to have Patrick Kane and Tyler Bertuzzi on his wing to start the year. He's going to be the guy while Bedard is out. And so even if the team isn't super successful over that stretch, I think Nazar shouldering that burden for the time being will give him a ton of confidence once Connor Bedard does come back. And Frank Nazar is a player more than any other player on the entire Blackhawks roster that I think really thrives on the confidence. Like, when Frank Nazar is playing confident hockey, that's when he's at his best. And so I think we're going to get that from Frankie. I think he's going to stay healthy this year. And it's like, you know, for as bad as last year was for him, and it was bad, he still played at like a 50-point clip. Like, he still put up over 40 points in 66 games. And so if that was like as bad and as bad as it gets for Frank Nazar, what about when it starts to click? You know, what about when he stays healthy? I just feel like if you're talking about all the young Blackhawks and all the guys we really believe in, when you're thinking about what they did last year to what their potential is, I think Frank Nazar has the biggest gap. I think Frank Nazar has the most room for improvement, and I think it's going to happen this year. I think Frank Nazar is going to be close to a point per game player this year, and he's going to put everyone on notice, and it's going to start feeling like, oh my gosh, how many guys do the Chicago Blackhawks have? I think we're going to have moments like that early on this year where we're going to see Frankie maybe before Bedard's back, and Frankie is just killing it, and it's like, oh my gosh, the Chicago Blackhawks still have Connor Bedard. Like, they're doing this, they're playing this way without their best player. And I think Frank Nazar is going to be at the center of that, and I can't wait to watch it. I think that's pretty much it. Once again, speaking of Frank Nazar saved my cat from a burning building. That's what this shirt says. I wore this shirt to the gym the other day, and this dude walked up to me with the biggest grin on his face and was like, dude, that shirt is amazing. This could literally be your guys' life. Go to leaguerossman.store, go get some merch, get the Bedard Better Than Celebrini merch, get the Levshinov Better Than Demidov merch, get the Frank Nazar Saved My Cat from a Burning Building. It's quality shirts. It's affordable, $25 tees, $50 hoodies. I just want to make shit that you guys want to buy. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Like the video, hype it up, and I will be seeing you guys next time for another video. Take care, and as always, go Blackhawks.